Hey guys, Brian here.
Chris here.
And today we're going to be talking about Destiny 2 and our overall thoughts and impressions about it. But first, I kind of wanted to bring up a couple of different topics for you guys and kind of have that discussion with you. So one of the things we've been doing, and obviously with these videos of us together, it seems to be kind of building back up into something that we've wanted to do for a while. And that's bring back the podcast. We launched the channel actually with a podcast and have since kind of gone away from that in favor of guides and other content that has been, I guess, really helpful, right?
And easier to get to you.
Yeah.
So it's been well received, and it's easier for us to get 2 guides out instead of 1 podcast.
Yeah, and the podcast, they took a lot of time and effort, but we've been getting messages, we've been hearing comments, and people have been contacting us, asking us to bring back a podcast. And so we kind of want to put the question out to you guys, is that should we? And so we set up a goal on our Patreon page, and you can check out the link in the description, that if we're able to hit a certain amount, because of the amount of time, like outside of everything else we do.
And we've shifted our work schedules over the last year to actually, the channel's gotten a little bit more of our lives. And so we both moved to kind of a self-employed state where, you know, we can spend more time on the channel. We just have to make sure that we're continuing to take care of what we need to.
Right. And so this is kind of that. We're talking about bringing it back. If you guys would like to see that and you want to throw your support behind it, check out the link below, and we're going to bring that back. And that's kind of what this is going to be about. You know, these conversations where Chris and I have been getting together, it has been that, and I think people really responded to it. And so without further ado, that's a long intro. Let's talk about some Destiny 2. Alright, so Chris, Destiny 2 has been out for almost 2 weeks. 2 weeks as of tomorrow, you know, at the time of this filming. And honestly, I can say the only thing I don't like about Destiny 2 is the fact that I have not got to play it more. And I don't know if you're in the same boat, but I would love to know your thoughts, because last night we did the Nightfall, and you were saying something before we started filming that I thought we should really just kind of share with the Work to Game audience, right? So
yes, so my issue with the Nightfall is we did not clear it in week 1. And we didn't clear it in week 1 because we didn't try it till the last night. And so some procrastination, no big deal. I'll just knock it out. And I'd heard it's a little difficult, but you have to be coordinated. You know what? I'm playing with guys over voice chat. Not going to be a problem. And we actually only had time for 3 attempts at it, and we fell short. One, because of server issues where we had to clear, and then the next time we were frustrated and we didn't play as well.
I saw that Bungie literally tweeted out, we hear some users are getting the guitar error.
Yeah, we
and
got
it's
kicked
like
out multiple times. And so we had 3 solid attempts.
Made further progress outside of
yes,
fighting the boss.
We were on the final boss.
Yeah, fighting the boss and the server. So you know, we actually got to the final boss twice. Like, it was the first time, and then we got kicked, and we got even further. We're like, we're not getting kicked.
And it's been a long time since I've been a serious raider. And, you know, Brian and I do have a tendency to dive into a game very hardcore, but then life pulls us out. And so we are kind of that, you called it seriously, or casually hardcore. Yeah. And that's really where we're at. Sometimes we bite off a little more than we can chew. And my big regret about last week was that I didn't clear the Nightfall.
Yeah. And, but, you know, we did get loot. You know, I got a couple purples.
We did.
Which
I picked up like 10 eye levels or 20 eye levels or something.
It was ridiculous.
Lots of loot all night.
It was, and that's what I love about this game. Like, the loot chest. Like, you were sitting here like,
I don't see him as often as I'd like.
I feel like I see him a lot. Like, we
because Brian's finding them all, I guess.
That's probably. Well, because you're like, this would be a perfect spot for a chest. And I go, okay. Oh, but there's one over here.
I checked 25 spots. Brian's like, oh, there was one right where I was walking. So
I was just going. I was following the way marker.
I guess my big complaint is that I'm not following Brian enough. I'm enjoying the game. I'm enjoying the customization. I'm enjoying starting to understand their loot system.
Yeah.
Starting to get a feel for exotics. Being reminded of systems that were in Destiny 1. But sometimes I ask a question because I don't know if it changed. Because I'm not totally aware of what all has changed, because I know they did a lot of rebalancing.
Yeah, so for, I guess, context sake, just for anybody who hasn't been seeing our other Destiny videos and don't, you know, hang out with us on Twitch, etc., is that Chris dropped out right before Taken King.
Yeah,
and that's
I play a lot, and then I play games either a lot or not at all. So when I quit, I was done. And every time he'd say, "You should come back. You should try it for this. You should." I'm not going to try it. I'm done.
So the Taken King did a lot, but the weird context is that you could see the lesson and the knowledge they learned from the original vanilla Destiny what they learned in Destiny 2 with, Taken King, and then the team that built Taken King is the team that was the lead. So Luke Smith, he was the lead on this game. And you can feel it, but he learned a lot. Like, even there was issues with the Taken King, but like in Fusion, right? They finally figured out how to do that right. Before, so just for your sake, they didn't have Infusion.
Nope.
They introduced it in Taken King, but you would, let's say,
all new to me.
Let's say you had a 300 gun and then you had a 100 gun. You're like, oh, I'm going to infuse this 300, this 100 with the 300, and it should be 300, right? No, it's going to be 150. It was just like, it felt like, why would I do this? And
you have to keep finding it.
You have to keep finding it and keep grinding. They fixed that in, sometime, I think, in the later life cycle of Taken King, but that's how Infusion
I still
launched.
wish it would tell you a little more about like what the Infusion results were going to be. And if there's a percentage chance of something, just tell me that.
Yeah.
That's how,
now it's 1 to 1.
That's how Materia affixing works, is it kind of tells you like, here's what this is going to do.
You're going to have a max of this.
Right. So if you're going to if they do want to add to it and stuff, they could say if you take a 300 and if you take a 150 and you put a 300 on it, it makes it 300. If you take a 300 and you put another 300 on it, it makes it 301.
See, that would be interesting. But they don't do that. Like, you're not going to infuse because that's the only value you're getting right now.
And part of their loot finding system fixes that. Because their loot finding system, you continually find better and better gear. So the power creep is very real. My big concerns for Destiny 2 was, will PvP be balanced? And it is way too early to call that. The systems are all different and all that, but until we have people who are entrenched and have full, like, I own all the exotics, I have my pick of the litter.
Yeah. This is the one PvP exotic. This is if you don't have this, you should not PvP.
We can't know that.
We don't know that yet.
And Destiny 1 broke because of that, in my opinion.
So
Nightfall was much harder.
Nightfall was harder.
I thought it was awesome.
I did too.
I really
had a good time.
I'm hoping it won't get too easy if we are geared.
I think at some point, no matter what,
above the minimum.
Because the thing I haven't even told you, I don't know if you're aware. So that's Nightfall 1. You can do a Nightfall at power level 300. And we didn't go into that. So they have difficulty levels already baked in because the raid, like, I think they're saying like you can get 350. 350 is the power level. So imagine going into the 240 at 350, you're going to obviously have a huge advantage. But now there is a higher level Nightfall raid that is an option that people have to choose from.
I enjoyed Nightfall. I want it to stay that difficulty. I feel that if we hadn't had server issues, we would have got the clear. And I feel that was our first attempt at it. That was our first time playing together as a team. That was our first. So there was a lot of firsts going on simultaneously. And so to introduce server issues into it, we should have done it earlier in the week. Yeah. And so I think if we do this week's earlier, we'll definitely get the clear.
You get a weekly bonus.
Unreachable.
You get a bonus that lasts the rest of the week, at least from my understanding.
Knock it out.
It needs to be a Tuesday thing, just like with Omega. Like everything resets on Tuesday. I wish. Maybe call Yoshi P up and be like, can you make it a Wednesday?
Can you guys just book days? Can they get together at E3, like a common ground, and say these developers are getting different days?
Yeah, there's 7 days. You could break that up easily over multiple games.
I'm sure there's a statistical reason why it's like the lowest played day or something like that. So it's a very easy day to
it's when you look at movies, it's like it's the movies they'll do 50 cents or $1 movie, et cetera, because it's the low. Well, and all new stuff comes out on Tuesdays, so it's just baked into I guess how culture has a shape from it. But we could let's do a podcast and research all of that. That'd be fun. On the PvP front, my biggest and still continuing pain point is the fact that there's no custom games. Because I'm playing this game, I'm having a ridiculous amount of fun in PvP and PvE. Like that's the thing. Like my biggest issue right now is I don't have enough time to play because life, work, all these other responsibilities that we have. It's like I really want to play. It's that new game excitement. I want to get in. I want to keep going, and I just haven't done that.
I'm still focused on Final Fantasy, so that's not Destiny's fault. That there's still another very good game off to the side. And normally, what happens when a great game comes out is I kind of at least set down my primary focus until I've gotten enough of it, till I get a handle on it.
Right.
And there's been major Stormblood content like constantly.
I'm just happy
And
4.1's out in October.
So
like
I'm
I couldn't
having
even
trouble-
imagine right now. Just
And so to anybody out there that's playing Destiny and playing another game, that's hard to juggle. It doesn't matter what that other game is.
Right. The
There's
best
a
thing,
lot of great games out here on the horizon. So
the best thing about it though is that it is a shooter as opposed to like a kind of a
It is.
like, it's not like, oh, I'm playing this version of Final Fantasy and
It is.
this same version of the
right.
game that's
If
very
like
similar.
Borderlands had dropped the same time as Destiny,
That would have been
I
a
be in
real
issue
oh,
because
man.
I would want to pick one over the other.
Yeah. Oh man, me
but-
too. I think like Borderlands 3.
Another Fallout game. Fallout games are incredibly addictive to me.
I'm glad you like that. I love watching Fallout, so if you ever get a new one, I'll watch you
I
stream
like
it.
the
But
whole studio. I mean,
they do great. Like they do fantastic. My problem with that whole series ends up being that I get lost. Good thing. So when you talk about dollar for entertainment, I totally get that value back. I've never finished one. I don't know the conclusion of the story. I'm not as in deep. I would want to get deep into the lore, so I just go
post-apocalyptic. Don't really know what happened. Let's do this.
Yeah, but I'm like 1,000,
I
like
don't.
100 hours in. I'm like, and then, but that's the thing. Like, I don't have that thing that then hunts and tries to get its hooks in me.
Right.
To then like say, well,
And
I
that
need
must
to
be genetic because your
It has
brother
to
does
be.
the same thing.
Yeah.
He'll get stuck in oblivion, and I'll have 100 hours in.
Yeah.
And then I'll go, oh my gosh! In the same amount of time, Brandon has 200 hours in. Like he's got to be just kicking my butt. And so some competitive nature of me like wants to dive in harder. And then I'm like, man, so like, how's your stuff going? What are you thinking of like the Assassin's Guild? And he's like, well, I've leveled my flower gathering up to 900, even though it only caps it caps at 500. I'm like, what? And he does. He just has all these, and so he gets stuck in this like gatherer phase where there's this completionist part.
Yeah.
And I am a completionist, but only in things that can be completed.
Right.
So if something can just be done endlessly, like doing public events, I was playing with Brandon as he was leveling, and he wanted to just keep doing these public events. I was like, no, do the story.
Do the story.
Stick to it. It's an MMO.
Yeah.
Always do the story first.
So bringing back to Destiny in this regard, especially with the Yeti, aka my brother, like he is loving Destiny 2.
Yes.
We had a conversation yesterday, and he's like, dude, I like
It's everything an open world game should be.
everything an open world game should be. He's actually enjoying PvP. He's like, so we got in and did some PvP together. Like I'm like, this is great. I've been wanting you to get invested in this franchise, and I'm glad Destiny 2 is having those hooks. But the fact is that simple fact that we cannot do custom games. It's like I honestly think that like I bet we could get your brothers in. I bet we could get like more people interested in, and maybe it'd be harder to sell. But for the simple fact is that they're custom games. But then also they're talking more about ranked games. They're saying they have plans.
Custom games and bigger game matches, big team battles.
Right. And the thing is that based off of my 2 weeks, because when people ask me like, should I get it? And I go, if you love Destiny 1, yes. If you didn't, wait a month. It's great. You totally should get it. But the two items, custom matches, need to hear about it because if you want to get invested in PvP, like we don't know what that scale is going to be. Yep. And if you can't get in and do customs, you're not going to learn the maps, and you're just not going to have fun. Even if you don't have the gun, map knowledge is key. And then the second piece before you jump back in is what's the content schedule rollout? Like how often are they going to update? Is the game going to feel like every time I get in, there's a reason for me to be here? And if those two things are answered the way that I feel like they will be based off of what we've seen already, then absolutely Destiny 2 is a must buy. And I want to now pick it up on PC, but without the ability to progress and my character.
No cross-platform saves.
Well, if they want another $90 or whatever for whatever, I'll happily give that for that feature.
Some companies don't like to make money. So honestly, I agree, except you said 1 month. With most games, you either get on now or you get on at this set date or you don't get on at all.
Right.
With this one, it depends on how these exotics work in PvP. If they end up being pivotal, by the time you get in and you get leveled, you'll have already missed a certain number of guns with Xur and all that. And it's absolutely right. Don't play. Just give up. Catch the next title. You know, Call of Duty comes out in November. If there's not a good shooter yet, that's fine. We got Mario right around the corner. 2017, for being one of the weaker lineups in the last decade, has still been an incredibly powerful lineup in a very few concentrated spots. The Switch has been a saver of this year.
Amazing.
So
now, I was like the
Destiny,
Switch was in like kind of dovetailing off that real quick was like I've been very happy with it, but after this latest Nintendo Direct, I'm ecstatic.
Yes.
Like I was like, oh,
So
it's literally they showed up. They were like, oh, you want third party? Boom, mic drop. Here's 45 minutes of third party. We're out. Oh, by the way, Mario's coming out in October.
Right.
Like, thank you.
So back to Destiny.
Yeah, back to Destiny.
Is
why this needs to be a podcast and not a specific
honestly,
topic.
I think that there's no fear of getting in week 2 versus week 1 because I hit level cap in a day. And so one of the issues with MMOs and asking a friend to pick it up later is that's why jump potions and stuff becomes a controversial topic. Because how do I ask you, say, oh, I could get my brothers in. Well, if there's a level up time of 10 hours or 100 hours or 200 hours, the longer that gets, the harder it is to say, you should join me. I'll be over here having fun while you do your chores.
Yeah.
And that's...
No, you're absolutely right.
It's very inviting. I love the way they've made it where I can just join Brandon's game. He was low level. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
And whatever he wanted to do, he's like, hey, can we go do PvP?
Sure.
Some little part of my brain was like, but that's not the most optimal way to level cap. and instead I just said, sure. And we went and had PvP. It was awesome. And he wrecked a few rounds. It was awesome.
Yeah.
There's nothing stopping him from being a contributing member of the PvP team. He was tearing it up. So I love a lot of what they've done. It is too early to say this is this is the amazing Destiny, but it is definitely a better launch than Destiny 1. It's definitely a strong title for 2017.
It's the premier experience for Destiny that they've been in the last 4 years. This gives me such excitement and hope for the future, and that's where it's like I want to make sure what I want to, from an emotional perspective is that I want that feeling to be matched with the expectation that now I've set. They've raised the bar.
Yep.
Can they keep the bar here and to the point where we were even having a conversation about subscriptions? Now, this game is not a subscription game. Final Fantasy is. And I said I would at most be willing to pay $5 a month for whatever. I won't spend any money. They've got the bright engrams. There's been controversy about it being pay to win and the shaders. Honestly, none of that actually affects me at all. I don't spend real money on anything after the fact. I will pay a subscription, and that's why I would love, in my opinion, an optional subscription where if I could pay $5 a month and get that bright engram or to get some kind of bonus just so that I can support the game and that they can have a detailed content rollout schedule, that for me would make sense. But they don't offer that, and they only offer microtransactions, and I don't do that. It's just I never have, and I don't want to ever. Kind of I didn't ever glamour in Final Fantasy 14, but then I did, and now I do, and I'm always worried if I sit here and say swipe the credit card for some silly little thing, even with Final Fantasy, I don't do microtransactions. It'd be oh, how did I spend $1,000 or something ridiculous?
The thing about an MMO is we can put out a review. Anybody can put out a review, and it's a moving target.
Yeah.
So if you had to put out a review today, overall, I think the game is doing very well. It's doing everything they said it would.
Yes.
I think that the game is worth. If you've already spent your money, sit down, play it. You're going to get your value back out.
You are.
If you are not pot committed, I think it's too early for me to be the evangelist that they want me to be.
Yeah.
So I am very proud of my purchase. I am not yet ready to tell strangers, much less close friends of mine,
spend money. Yeah,
that,
you need to go spend money
because I have close friends who I know their schedules. So if I meet somebody in the grocery store and they say, "Man, I've been playing a lot of Destiny lately. Hi, stranger. What do you think?" I'll say it's great, and if they go out and buy it, that's their call. But when Brandon was looking at buying it, I know that Brandon is working a lot right now. I know that they just had a baby. He's moving into his first new house in a month. Yeah. And so I have all these other factors that have nothing to do with the development studio. In the back of my head, I was like, be very careful. Because when we're just talking about gameplay, absolutely, I know he's going to love it. But when we talk about the balance within your life, I'm not yet ready to say, you don't want to miss this one, buddy.
That's what it's going to be interesting to see. Because it was nice because there is rested XP. I discovered that. So thank you.
Yes.
And, you getting on, being able to jump up in power level, having not played in a couple days, me having not been able to play for at least a couple days, was able to great, now I'm Nightfall ready. And now, it's that progress. Yeah, I hear that it obviously slows the closer and closer that you get to cap. But I was I don't care about, I don't have to be at cap to enjoy the game. because at least from PvP, it's scaled in that sense that there's no power issue. It's just a matter of guns and perks, which is more of a lottery than anything else. There are some quests to help unlock some of that, and I like that.
Dungeon crawler.
Yeah, it is a dungeon crawler, and I'm like, okay, great. We've got 5 strikes. PlayStation has 6 strikes. Is there going to be a new strike in October or November? It's like, what is this? They said that I think the first expansion comes out in December. Great. Hopefully, whether there's content between now and then, or that content is so big that it justifies the additional money that I paid.
Do you think there's a point in the near future, and if so, when, that you would be willing to tell other people they should buy this game? I am not yet confident enough to say for a fact that it is worth your money. I know it's worth mine.
When we know more about the Call of Duty World War II, if that's, because everybody seems very positive that that's going to be the game night game. Nothing wrong with it. I got nothing against it. But I want to learn a little bit more about it personally. Okay. Just, it's like, okay, is this
going to be... So it has nothing to do with Destiny.
It really
doesn't.
It's whether
or not anybody else steps up.
Right. And it's like, is there going to be another shooter that's going to enthrall me as much as Destiny does today? Because then you have Anthem. Let's say it's not that, but Anthem, but then maybe
Anthem's a wild card.
They say, well, yeah, it's a complete wild card, but it could be interesting.
Could be.
There's a lot of factors there.
Did you like BioShock?
I actually love BioShock. It was fantastic.
It's a good sign.
Yeah, and so I was really I didn't play like the sequel BioShock 2 or like where they did the return, but I really enjoyed the original.
Okay.
And it was just and obviously this was based off of like System Shock and stuff like that, but fantastic game. And so Anthem looks interesting, and the studio is pedigree, for various things. They've got a good history with it. So there's a lot. Like, is it going to be the game? And so I'm bought in for a year, so that we know we have got 2 expansions. I paid for the digital premium, whatever. So I'm definitely bought in.
I'll play pretty hard at least through the first one launching. Mm-hmm. If that first expansion doesn't enthrall me, I will take a break and I will come back at the other expansion because I've already spent money on it.
My concern with the expansion, just like it was last time, is that if, let's say, Brandon doesn't pick it up, can we still play with them and have fun? Or does it segment the community?
The first year is handled, because I felt burned by Destiny 1, if Destiny 2 turns out to be a burn, I won't buy Destiny 3.
Right. You're going to be like, fool me once, fool me twice, shame on me.
There's 30 good titles a year that I would love to dump 1,000 hours into, and I don't have 30,000 hours. So I just can't take that risk. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, let us know in the comments below, and let's have that conversation. Are you enjoying Destiny 2? Are you on the fence?
Are you ready to make a final call? Do you feel that there's a time in the future, and if so, when is that?
Yeah, because right now, I'm feeling very positive, and I would recommend it for anybody who likes shooters, likes MMOs.
I, on the other hand, will play it and then turn right back around and tell you, you know what? You're my friend. I want to be honest with you. Don't spend your money yet unless you're sure. Because I am afraid that you're going to come back and tell me that I wasted your money.
So I'm on the buy side, and he's definitely on the rent side. So that's where we fall with our podcast, Switch, Nintendo, Casual, Hardcore, Destiny podcast.
This is a pretty diverse post.
It's like, hey, guys.
But definitely let us know in the comments below what you guys want to see more of here on the channel. And, yeah.
Thanks so much for watching this video, and we hope to see you on our next. For Work to Game, my name's Brian.
My name's Chris.
We hope you have a fantastic day.
We'll see you next time.
Take care. Hey, Chris, your shirt's pretty looking.
Honestly, it doesn't have Work to Game anywhere on it, but I like to support the channel.
Yeah. So, well, you can do that and also have a good looking shirt.
I don't really want that shirt. You think maybe it could be a different shirt? Well, cool. I think I'm going to click on one of the links somewhere around here, and I'm going to go see what we got.
Hello. It's really, really, really good.
You guys have a great day.
Take care.
You probably have a pretty shirt on.